One of the advantages to using some sort of version control system is being able to quickly and easily see differences between different files. If you're keeping your own system, and even if you have it very organized, it can be difficult to compare different versions of the same file. Now, if you have something simple like this, you can probably put them side by side and see what's changed, right? So that's not that big of a deal. But what if you have some sort of program or some sort of file, whether that be HTML or C or JavaScript or Python or whatever, where you have hundreds of lines of code or thousands of lines of code? That can make things very difficult very quickly. Even if you end up choosing not to use some sort of version control software like Git, there's still a better way than dragging two files side by side and trying to visually hunt out whatever these differences may be. Right? So this isn't very efficient. I mean, I can see the differences, right? But once again, if this is a huge file, it's not going to be fast, it's not going to be efficient, and I'm probably going to make some errors. So as we talk more about version control, we are going to use the terminal a little bit. Some people are a little nervous about using the terminal, but it's not really hard. Now, I'm doing this on the Mac, so if you're on a PC, your commands are going to differ a little bit for the command line. And some of these you might not have available on your system depending on which ones we're looking at. So I'm going to go into my Launchpad and I'm going to find my terminal, and we're going to launch that, make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. Alright, so to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and drag out two of my samples from my folders here. So here's example 1. Oops, actually, let's not drag it out, let's copy and paste it. So here's example 1, and we'll say this is example 2. Keep both. I don't like having spaces in my file name, so example 1, example 2. Now we're going to tell this to go to my desktop, so we're going to say change directory desktop, and so that's CD desktop. So now we're on my desktop, and now I can do some comparisons. So the first one I'm going to do is just typing diff for difference, example, that's the name of this file, and example 2. There we go. So it's showing me what some of the differences are here. This may not be the clearest way of using it if you're brand new to this. It's showing me parts that are different, like what lines are different. So if we open up both of these and we look at what it's showing us, we can see here it says example title versus this is a title. So example title, this is a title. It's showing us that that's different. This line here, by me, is by itself, whereas here it has extra writing, so it's showing that. And then this line is missing, right? So the way this kind of works is it's telling you which lines these are on. So like line 2, so line 2. And then when we see this bit down here, we have line 7, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that whole chunk here is missing, including this empty line, right? So it's not just this line, it's the empty lines around it as well. And so it's giving you sort of a clue to there what's going on. This C is meaning changed, and this D is meaning deleted. And the rest, even though the lines end up becoming different due to the deletion, it recognizes the content's the same. So that's one method, and I don't really prefer this method, but some people like this method. Now the next method uses a piece of software that should already be installed on your machine called Vim, and you can actually edit code in Vim itself. So let's look at what that looks like in this. So we'll launch a new window. Once again, we'll do CD desktop, and we're going to do Vim diff, and then just the names of the files again, so example and example 2. Alright, so this is what it looks like in here. It looks a little different, but you can see what's going on here. It's actually showing the whole lines, which I like a little bit better, and it can show the parts that are deleted in specific colors. It can show the parts that are added. Now, of course, this wasn't really added. This has been kind of moved up, but you get the general idea. So I like this method significantly better than the other method just in terminal itself. And the last one I'm going to mention, you might have this installed, you might not. It just depends on sort of how your machine was set up. A lot of users probably don't have it, but I'll show it to you anyways, and you can give it a try. If not, you can install it if you really want to and try it out. So for this one, we're going to need Xcode. So if you don't have Xcode, this won't work, but if you want to, you can install it and give it a try. So once again, we're going to go back to our desktop. So cd desktop, and we're going to say open diff, example, and example2. And so this will open up actually a new window, not running it inside the terminal like Vim did, and it will show you some of the differences. And so this displays it a little bit differently too. This is actually the way that I prefer it the most. We have these little toolbars down here that are nice and easy to see. We have little arrows, highlights, and I think this method is just a really easy way to visual. But once again, you have to have Xcode installed for this to work. Of course, if you're using version control software like Git, you have some of those already built in, and we'll talk about those soon once we start working directly with Git.